Alright, hi everybody, it's Bonkai922. Fates here. Season 2, Episode 5. I saw Phone, he did a review on this, and he mentioned what the episode was about, and I thought, wait a minute, why is it about that? So I went to take a look. Well, it was a flashback. Holy shit. Holy shit. This episode of Fate Zero was holy shit. That's all I'm gonna keep saying. In fact, I'm just gonna come out right and say it now. 5 out of 5. I don't care. 5 out of 5. This is basically a flashback. Kitsurugi and Mia, his childhood. And we see him, he's on top of this rock, and he jumps in the water, and he's like having fun with his friends. And we see this character, this girl that he's with. Her name is Shirley. But it's funny, everyone calls him Carrie, because they don't want to say his name, Kitsurugi. So they call him Carrie, and he's in a car with her, and they're driving along, saying, you know, at first, she's like saying, at first, it took you really hard to, people always make fun of you, and so on and so forth, when you first came to this village, this island, and now everybody knows you, and you're known and stuff. And there was a little story she was telling him about the fact that, story behind the island, about a girl who was turned into a crab. I don't know what that meant. But anyway, then we get the introduction of Kitsurugi's father as they're going to the mansion. And we see that his father was very strange in what he, but we know that his father's a mage, obviously. From this episode. And he's doing these experiments to these flowers. And what he does is, he's taking these flowers and he's transforming them. And what he's doing is, the flowers bloom, but they don't wither. So they'll bloom beautifully, and they'll remain like that. They'll remain that way. So in other words, the flowers don't die. And that's the whole premise of his research, so on and so forth. And then, from there, he's having dinner, Kitsurugi with his father and Shirley, and, he wants to do the same thing. He wants to help out, but his father won't allow him at the moment. He's saying, no, you can't. You can't. You don't have the same experience that Shirley has, and so forth. And Shirley then has a conversation with him, with Kitsurugi, saying, call him Carrie, saying, oh, you're his heir. You're going to take his research further than I ever could, because I'm not his heir. And we notice in this scene, you see the plant that she tried to do, it died. So, that was the whole premise there. And then we get another scene with the Father Simon, saying for her not to go back to that mansion, not to see him, and so on and so forth. Then, there's this little meeting between Kitsurugi and her at night, late at night. She wants to show him something, and it's the water, and it's beautiful, and everything, and she's wondering, oh, what are you going to be like? What are you going to do with what are you going to do with your father's research when you're an adult? And he says it's a secret. And she's tossing him around and everything, and having a little playful moment. And this is like the calm before the storm. Because what happens is, after he wakes up, Kitsurugi's father says, have you been into my workshop? And he's like, no, I haven't been there. He's like, don't leave the house, and don't go to the village. Guess what he does? He goes to the village. So, what ends up happening is he goes to the village, and he's asking around, did you guys see Shirley? Did you see Shirley? And they say, no, no, we haven't seen her. The kids are saying that. And he goes in, and he's looking around. He goes to her house, and he sees this vial that's empty. And then he goes around the house, and he hears something. There's this chicken that's bloodied. And he sees her. Her eyes are red. Just bright red. Almost something from Shiki. And we can see that she's transformed into something. And she's like, she's telling him, oh, you need to kill me, you need to kill me, and so on and so forth. Also, there was another scene between them with her eating a melon or something, but that was stupid. And he doesn't want to kill her. And then it cuts to that scene to Father Simon taking in Kitsurugi, shielding him from what's going on outside, and it's just like a plague. And I guess Phone was right. Yeah, vampires, bona fide vampires, and it doesn't really. It shouldn't be surprising to anyone, because when you really think about his father's research with those flowers, the flowers bloom and they don't wither. That is what a vampire usually, to a degree. And basically, what ends up happening then, he sees noises outside. Father Simon gets attacked by the vampires. He becomes a vampire, obviously. And then we see these people show up. Now, the people in the church with the hoods and everything and the swords, they work for the church. They're like the executors of the church, so to speak. And then from there, Kitsuru gets the hell out of there and tries to run away. And then we see other people showing up who are obviously mages from the Mage Association or something. And that's at least what we believe. And they were just burning everything down, and killing all the vampires that have been woken. And we get this introduction to this girl, this woman. Unfortunately, I forgot the woman's name. But she is basically the person, quote-unquote person, who takes Kitsurugi in. And she says, do you know where... And he's having this conversation with this woman. When you're looking for a mage who started this, and basically they are vampires. He's explaining to him that these are vampires. They're known as dead apostles. Dead apostles. And she wants to know where this guy is, where the mage is. And she's like, he says, I'll do it. And we get this flashback of Kitsurugi and his father meeting up, and he says, Shirley is, he's explaining to him, were you going to do the same thing to me that you did to Shirley? And he's like, no, don't say that. He was like saying it in a way. And then basically, Kitsurugi loses his mind, he stabs him, and he ends up getting a gun and shooting him. Kills his father. Then the one he met, she shows up and says, oh, that barrier that I had to break was very easily to break, so on and so forth. And, there's just some small talk with him, and she asks Kizuri, is that a real reason for you killing your father? And then she decides to take him in and says, I'll take you off the island. And he says, you have anything to take with you? No. And it's really sad. I mean, like, holy shit. Everything gets burned to the ground, and his whole purpose of doing that was to make sure he didn't continue the research, and they're getting off the island, they're on the boat, and they go in the distance. And that's how the episode ends. I'm like, holy shit. So now I have a new respect for Kitsurugi. Saber? Go fuck yourself. That's right, I said it. Anything Saber says, anything she says in Fate Zero, anything she says, anything she does, whatever, you have No argument. I'm sorry. People are probably gonna hate me for saying this. Great episode, 5 out of 5. But Saber, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. But after watching that flashback of Kiritsugu'S, I'm convinced Kiritsugu'S is going down the right path. Because what he experienced as a child is just so fucked up. It doesn't even compare to anything. His father was basically making dead apostles with his serum that he made. And obviously Shirley was trying to enact it, which is fucked up. It's just fucked up. He loses everything Kiritsugu'S as a child. Everything. He has to kill his father, because he would have continued his research if he was left unchecked. Which is fucked up to begin with. And it's just so sinister. He loses a friend, Kiritsugu'S. He can't stay on the island. He has to leave. And now he's with this woman. I forgot her name. The woman. But, and she works for the Mages Association. That's what I found out. But that was just fucked up. Fucked up. It was like, oh my god. So, looking at Kiritsugu'S when he's a child, when he's fighting in the Holy Grail Wars, his Holy Grail War, current, and then when he obviously meets up with his new son, the son he adopted, Shiro, it's like unbelievable what Kiritsugu'S has gone through. It just blows my mind. This episode was unbelievable. 5 out of 5, no question. Tell me what you guys think, comments below. Vampires, I mean, that was crazy shit. That was crazy. 5 out of 5. There's no question. I'm giving it 5 out of 5. I'm sorry, but it was just an insane episode. Phase 0. Unfortunately, Amnesia didn't come out yet. So that's going to have to wait until tomorrow, I guess. The 2-episode review. But man, this episode was... Oh man. Phone did a review on it, and he said vampires, and I'm saying the same thing. Vampires. So this review would be called Vampires Kiritsugu'S Fucked Up Childhood. Had a fucked up childhood. Kills his father and loses a friend in the process. It's like, man, that's just fucked up. That's the only way I can describe it. It's just like so goddamn ridiculous. And now I think in the next episode we're going to continue down this flashback with Kiritsugu'S and this woman. Sorry if I forgot her name. Sorry guys if I forgot her name. But yeah. It's been Bonkai922. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? Comments below. See you guys later.